Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an eighth time. My current term in the Senate will be my last.
There you have it. One of the most talked about moves in politics came down on a birthday. Mitch McConnell says no more Senate races for him as he turned 83 years old today. He's the United States' longest serving Senate party leader, and he'll not run again in 2026. McConnell then received a standing ovation after a speech on the Senate floor, a rare sight as it is not usually allowed under Senate rules. Hello, everybody. Good to be with you, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. All news since 6 o'clock. The WHAS11 night team has more local reaction to McConnell's big news that came out this morning. But first, the race for his U.S. Senate seat is already out of the gate, and it did not take long. Republican Daniel Cameron of Louisville, who unsuccessfully ran for Kentucky governor, actually announced his Senate campaign nearly as McConnell was wrapping up his comments in Washington. It appeared to be a coordinated move. Cameron expected to be challenged by current Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr of Lexington. For the Democrats, current State House Minority Leader Pamela Stephenson of Louisville also intends to run for the seat. Stephenson most recently ran for Kentucky Attorney General, losing to Republican Russell Coleman. Now, of the three, McConnell's longtime friend and the founder of Run Switch PR, Scott Jennings, told us one already has an advantage.
Daniel starts out as the front runner. I think any credible pollster would tell you that Daniel would be in the lead to begin.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear once again said no way in a statement from his office today. The governor wishes the senator well on his health. He loves his job serving the people of Kentucky, and he wouldn't trade a single day as governor for 6 years in the Senate. He is not running for Senate in 2026 from Andy Beshear today. Well, Mitch McConnell said today that he made his decision last year not to run again. He's controversial, as you know, and many of you tell us often you're not happy with his tenure. But through all that, he did bring big money back to this area. The Ohio River Bridges Project, the parklands of Floyd's Fork, and the University of Louisville, just to name some. WHAS 11 Night Team's Jose Alonso shows us the impression left on Kentuckiana.
I will not seek this honor an eighth time. My current term in the Senate will be my last.
Senator Mitch McConnell met with applause in the United States Senate chamber after talking about his legacy and revealing he will not run for re-election. Longtime Senator Mitch McConnell's impact can be felt across Kentuckiana, from his commitment with the University of Louisville to infrastructure across the mighty Ohio River. Inside Jeffersonville City Hall, I spoke with the chair of the Clark County Republican Party, Ron Grooms.
I worked closely with his office as a city councilman as well as a state senator. Senator McConnell was very active behind the scenes in the repairs and maintenance of the Sherman-Minton Bridge, the Lewis and Clark, as well as the expansion of I-265 in southern Indiana.
Grooms feels like McConnell invested into all of Kentuckiana, and in 1991, the senator partnered with his alumni.
Yeah, we have his college experience in the 1960s, going here to University of Louisville.
Director Gary Gregg showing me around the McConnell Center inside the Ekstrom Library, where they proudly display McConnell's life, investments into his students.
Each pen represents a McConnell scholar. They come from their hometown communities to Louisville.
And the nonpartisan speakers he's personally invited to speak to the next generation.
We've had everybody from Hillary Clinton to Colin Powell to Joe Biden to George Bush that he's brought here to the community, and we've been able to interact with. But then the magic is Senator McConnell also insists on them spending private time with our undergraduate McConnell scholars.
It's an extremely significant project for the future of the community.
And in 2013, McConnell brought home $38 million to help the Jones family complete the parklands of Floyd's Fork, calling it the most fabulous system for the next century. Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
Well, Mitch McConnell's rise to at one time the most powerful Republican outside of a sitting president started right here in Louisville. McConnell was born in Alabama, and his family moved to Louisville when he was 15 years old. He was student body president of Manual High School. He first got elected as the Jefferson County Judge Executive in the 1970s, as you saw him right here. And then in 1984, his shocking victory over an entrenched Democrat for the U.S. Senate seat. It launched his historic run that will now end in 2026. But in a 2023 series of health scares, he fell so hard hitting his head in a D.C. hotel it knocked both hearing aids out. Then he froze, stopped speaking twice in front of cameras. And earlier this month, he fell again twice in the U.S. Capitol. He's also been a critic of President Donald Trump and does not like him personally. Louisville Representative Morgan McGarvey also reacting to the senator's retirement. In a statement, McGarvey saying, in part, "It's no secret that Senator McConnell and I disagree on a host of issues, especially his attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act that 500,000 Kentuckians rely on, and his efforts to pack our courts with conservative judges who have ripped away many of our fundamental freedoms." Former Louisville Congressman John Yarmouth joined us on WHAS 11 News earlier tonight, reacting to the news.
Well, if you look at McConnell's legislative record over 40 years, it's virtually non-existent. He has been playing the inside game. He was always looking out for his members, particularly when he became a party leader, to raise money for them, to in many cases to keep them from having to take tough votes.
McConnell is considered a master strategist, and his work in the U.S. Senate helped forge a conservative U.S. Supreme Court. He also led the Senate through tax cuts, presidential impeachment trials, and fierce political fights. In Kentucky, McConnell is credited with starting the movement that turned the state red. In 1984, when he was first elected, a Republican was a rare sight in Kentucky. It was mostly Democrat. We were in Frankfort today when the news broke, talking to Kentucky Republicans.
He's one of those examples of how Kentucky has punched above its weight for a long time. And this will be a significant change in Kentucky politics.
Mitch McConnell made what Kentucky is today. We used to be a blue state.
For people in the Republican Party, many of them owe much of their success to him.
But many Kentucky Republicans are now moving away from the Ronald Reagan-style Republican politics that McConnell used to turn Kentucky. Instead, they are embracing President Donald Trump's remaking of the GOP. Now tonight, we want to move to more local news from the night team. A federal judge has dismissed a motion to throw out former Louisville police officer Brett Hankison's guilty verdict. Hankison was found guilty of using excessive force the night of Breonna Taylor's killing. Attorneys wanted federal judge Rebecca Grady Jennings to acquit Hankison, saying there was not enough evidence to prove that he intentionally restrained Taylor's movement by force or that she was alive at the time he fired shots through her glass doors. According to a court document, Judge Rebecca Grady Jennings said the jury already had the opportunity to consider these arguments at trial and found there was enough proof to convict him. Brett Hankison will be sentenced in federal court on April 8th. Right here, new tonight, several bills working their way through the Kentucky State Legislature are hoping to pull back on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, DEI, in public schools. It follows in line with executive actions taken by the Trump administration during his first month in office. And as funding for such programs now becomes threatened, WHAS 11 Night Team's Clarice Shaley shows us how some community leaders are pushing back.
I'm excited about this forum.
JCPS and NAACP members talk about the importance of Black student unions and associations.
It has increased sense of belonging with a number of our students, and we know that that improves academic performance and especially emotional well-being.
Positions and organizations that are facing change on the state level. Senate Bill 165 would end DEI programs in kindergarten through 12th grade public schools.
Taking this experience away from future generations just sounds like chaos waiting to happen. History does repeat itself when it's not taught, and taking away DEI takes away culture and understanding.
In a statement, JCPS says they've made tremendous gains without engaging in any of the discriminatory or preferential actions Senate Bill 165 seeks to ban. Another House bill applies to universities. U of L sent a campus-wide message clarifying no administrator would lose their job. Quote, "At this university, all of us, not one office or department, has a responsibility to ensure that everyone has a sense of belonging." Lenasia Mason is a JCPS grad and now a University of Kentucky student.
I'm in so many different groups that maybe next year I may not have the funding to beat that, but that's not going to stop me. It's not going to hinder what I'm doing.
Nick Spencer with the Family Foundation stands by lawmakers pushing to get rid of DEI.
Because we think it's a waste of taxpayer dollars and that it often results in a lowering of overall standards. And depending on the context that you're in, you can run into significant issues of health and safety.
A campaign that's facing a Republican supermajority in Frankfort. In Louisville, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
Senate Bill 165 is currently in the Senate Education Committee in Frankfort. If passed, the bill would ban K-12 public schools from maintaining a DEI office and officer and lets the Attorney General bring civil action if a school violates the provisions. Meantime, House Bill number 4 has moved to the House Committee on Post-Secondary Education.